Whoa, Tom Holland, mate, you might want to have a word with your agent. I just watched the new sci-fi film Chaos Walking, which stars Tom Holland and Daisy Ridley, and heard mixed things about this film, but I said to myself, it can't possibly be worse than Tom Holland's other recent film, Cherry, can it?
Wrong, 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 wrong. Wrong, 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 wrong. You're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong.
Hey up guys, so today's movie that I'm reviewing is Chaos Walking, which is an adaptation of a popular sci-fi dystopian novel franchise series by Patrick Ness. Ness has co-wrote the script with Christopher Ford, and regular sci-fi director Doug Liman has directed the film. He's done previous films like Jumper and Edge of Tomorrow, so some hits and some misses. I didn't have high hopes for this film. It's been stuck in production hell for ages. Like, principal photography for this film actually wrapped originally back in 2017. Okay, that's like half a decade ago. But apparently the early test footage of the film that they shot wasn't testing well with audiences. So they had to bring the stars back to do reshoots, but the problem was Tom Holland's Spider-Man schedule and Daisy Ridley's Star Wars schedules were just a nightmare to try and work around. So, and bearing in mind, like, when they first shot this, Tom Holland was still going through adolescence, so when you watch the final product of this film, there's two versions of Tom Holland in this. One where he looks quite boyish, and another one where he's clearly a little bit older and is just sort of on the cusp of becoming the Tom Holland that we know today. Despite all them reshoots, the end product, which I just watched a couple hours ago, I'm sad to say, didn't do anything to help this film. It's boring, it's generic, it's the most standard plot. The characters are so dull. You don't care about any of the characters in this. This film is so blah. And I think that's why Lionsgate decided to distribute the film now, whilst we're still in a pandemic, because they knew how much of a stinker this film was, and they just wanted to get it out there so it can die a quick and quiet death. The plot of Chaos Walking is set in 2257 AD on a planet known as New World, and on New World there are no women. It's just populated by men, and all the men can hear each other's thoughts. They materialize in these colorful, ethereal thought bubbles above their heads. They call it the noise. But when a girl called Viola, played by Daisy Ridley, shows up in this all-male colony and they can't hear her thoughts, she poses a threat to them, apparently, and so it's up to a young chap called Todd Hewitt, who's played by Tom Holland, to take her on a journey to get her to safety. You've seen this story loads of times before. It's about two people from different worlds, literally in this case, going on a journey together, getting to know each other, and overcoming obstacles. It's like News of the World or Up, but set on an alien planet. The thing is with Chaos Walking, you can see from Doug Liman's efforts that he really did give it a good try. The problem was, there was just too much working against him with this film. For starters, the young adult sci-fi novel adaptations were already on the way out when this film went into production. Remember the Maze Runner and Divergent franchises? Barely, you say? Exactly. A lot of the studios were looking for the next Hunger Games, but the problem was that there wasn't really an appetite for it anymore. People had gotten bored of it. You only have to look at the last Insurgent, Divergent, Detergent film. It didn't even get made. Like, there was just, no one was asking for it. So this film was about 8 years too late to a trend that was already on the way out. I'll say this, I appreciate the ambition of trying to bring a concept like this to the big screen. Like, the concept of people being able to see and read each other's thoughts does sound quite interesting. The problem is, some ideas work better on the page than they do on the screen. Reading a character's thoughts in a book is one thing. In fact, it's how a lot of novels work when they're told from the point of view of a protagonist. But visually verbalizing every character's thoughts constantly throughout a 2-hour movie just becomes grating, tiresome, and difficult to keep up with. So from the get-go, you're dealing with a premise which gets very irritating very quickly. I appreciate the ambition of trying, but it's not executed in a way that's engaging or tolerable for that matter. Another issue that I mentioned previously with this film is that it really struggles with its characters. Everybody in this is so cardboardy. I didn't care for any of the characters because everyone is just so poorly written and developed. Tom Holland and Daisy Ridley are two of the most capable, rising British acting talents we have, but their pairing together in this film is so lackluster. There's no spark or anything resembling chemistry within the dynamic. Daisy Ridley I thought was quite one note as Viola, and Tom Holland's charming charisma is nowhere to be found in this film. And then there's the supporting characters, which you don't give two shits about. Mads Mikkelsen is completely wasted. As a villain, his motives were just so wishy-washy. Nick Jonas is in this as some lackey of Mads Mikkelsen's baddie, and he has absolutely no presence in this film. Like, I almost forgot he was in it until I went on IMDb to check who the cast was in this. And then you've also got Cynthia Erivo and David Oyelowo, two fantastic actors doing I don't know what in this film. Like, they are so underutilized and wasted here. The bottom line is, you simply just don't care about any of the characters in this film. There's a character death in the story, which by all accounts should be emotional because of this character's relationship to Tom Holland's Todd. And yet, I didn't feel anything in this moment. In fact, I felt more emotion in a scene where a horse dies. Spoiler alert. I also wasn't a fan of the editing. I found it quite patchy. The only things that I liked about this film is that a lot of it was shot for real, outside, in nature, which I liked, instead of being shot on a soundstage with lots of green screen. And the action was okay. Like, it was fun to see, like, actual Tom Holland riding a horse across this big, long, meadowy field. That was done for real, and I enjoyed that. But there's other action scenes where it felt very sloppy, like when they're going down these rapids and there's a horse and this boat, and it's just very poorly edited together, and you just don't feel any sense of excitement whilst it's occurring. And also, that rapid scene ends with David Oyelowo doing something bad and then just disappearing. Like, he just disappears. Like, it just cuts to, like, Tom Holland and Daisy Ridley further down the river, but not with David Oyelowo. It's just like, where's David Oyelowo? Ugh, yeah, it's just bad editing. So yeah, even the action scenes in this film aren't consistently good. So let's ask them 3 questions. Firstly, would I watch this again? Lord, no. God, no. Question 2, do I recommend it for you guys? Nope. Short answer, no. I just don't know who this film was intended for. Fans of the book, maybe? But I just found it to be so boring and flat. And there's very few redeeming things about this film that I could say it's worth checking out. Not even the stars are particularly good in it. So no, I don't recommend it for anybody. And final question, what score do I give it out of 10? This movie was dead on arrival. Like, it was trying to cash in on a trend which was way past its expiration date. It's bland, it's confusing, and it's boring. So I'm going to give Chaos Walking a score of 2 out of 10. Thanks so much for watching this review, guys. If you have seen Chaos Walking, be sure to let me know what you thought of it in that comment section down below. Which Tom Holland movie with a C did you dislike more, Cherry or Chaos Walking? Let your voice be in that comment section down below. If you have enjoyed this review, do hit the thumbs up button. Support my channel by clicking subscribe, and if you want to follow me on any social media, Twitter, Instagram, Letterboxd, all those links in that video description down below. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching. For more things related to movies, TV, and popcorn culture, I'm Luke Airfield, and I'll see you next time.